Recently, Bitcoin dropped a little bit lower than $10,000, but if you all pay attention to the charts, you all can see the trends that it's already created before. So today's episode is trust funds versus trust. We got our trading partner here with us, Cornell. So we appreciate you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. And just going to talk about such a critical subject. A lot of people confuse the trust funds with the actual trust itself. And in turn, by doing that, they're creating confusion for themselves. We get this question that comes through the vault all the time about trust funds, how to start trust without funds, and things of that nature. And so we always want to at least acknowledge everybody that ask about, does the trust need to have funds when it starts out? Because when they come to the board, a lot of people ask these type of questions in consultations. And so, we want to talk about it from a trustee perspective on the difference between trust funds versus trust, because there's over 80 different types of trust. There's so many different types of trust. But what's interesting is when you go to fill out the trust and estate tax form, there's only less than 7 types of trust that they look at. So when people even say that there's so many different type of funds, that's because of the way the contract is written, whether it's public or private. So you have to have a clear distinction between public and private. But when we even talk about the actual fund itself, that's based off of the contract. The contract actually letting you know what are the laws, bylaws, and then on the public side or private side. So a lot of times, a lot of people ask about the different trusts and things of that nature. We keep it really simple at the vault. We focus on the simple, maybe not trust, but simplicity of trusteeship, knowing that trust funds are funds to be managed, they're assets under management. And I think this is actually maybe even a good segue to our trading partner Cornell asking the question earlier about trust funds as a trustee over the trading account. What is the mindset of a trustee over the trading account, over the funds? What are some of the risks that you're willing to take over funds? Do you have a percentage? Is there a defined strategy as a trustee over funds? What is the strategy? What's the margins? Could you talk a little bit about that, Cornell? Yeah, I think you still muted out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Not say what now?
I said, well, could you talk a little bit about the management of the trust funds as a trustee over the trading account? Could you talk about possibly the risk that you're willing to take, the percentage that you're willing to take of risk or reward that you're looking for? Just the mindset over funds as a trustee over the trading funds.
Mm. Mindset. Usually try not to use no more than 10% of your account when I trade. 'Cause when you over leverage your account, you risk losing all your money. And people don't understand why they learn how to trade because you're going in on a big return on a small investment instead of putting the work in. So when you got the right mindset, you learn that guess what? I'm gonna take my time, do it the correct way, not go over what I said, and I'm gonna grow the business. And that's how you grow the business.
Well, that's another thing I think to point out and highlight that the trust funds are to be handled as an individual business, each individual fund. A trust can own multiple funds. So when people ask, can a trust have multiple cars, multiple businesses, multiple whatever, a trust is a person. So a trust is able to have multiple funds. So handling that particular fund as a particular business is very, very critical. So when you even talk about trading the trust funds, do you have a business plan as a trustee that's defined, it's written down on paper? Do what could you answer that first?
As far as you said, a trust.
Yeah, do you have a
You t-
written plan, business plan for trading?
well, I operate like a business, but at the same time, like I said, it's really knowing how to use the proper leverage. With trading is probability. So when I'm trading, I'm taking high probability with the lowest risk with a minimum loss in there. That's my business plan. So if I'm willing to, let's say, put some money up, I know how much I want to lose, and I know what I'm trying to get.
Okay. So do you think that strategy came from reading a book, or do you think it was developed through actual testing that waters? Where do you think your business plan came from, if that's the case?
Both, but you're gonna have to test the water. But you also got to be at a good place in life and understand business also too. Because like I said, emotions is a big part of you being a success in any business you're doing, whether it's trading or anything else. That's a huge part.
And that's where I think sometimes, people don't understand is that you don't get emotional with any of it. Even with the creation of the trust. There's so many different types. So how do you not get emotional about not knowing which one? And then people get emotional about not knowing how to trade the funds or what to do with the funds, where to put the funds, the initial place to put the funds when they have it in trust. And so when we talk about, even from the trading perspective, that they want to know what is a good leveraging probability. When you speak of probability, when you speak of not over leveraging your account, like they say, they want to know, well, how much can I risk to a reward ratio? What would that be?
Depending on what you're comfortable with. Me personally, when I done learned in my experience, anything over 5 to 1, 6 to 1, to me is a good opportunity because guess what? It allows me to be able to still lose because I got my own risk set, so I still will accomplish my goal compared to somebody that's playing big and they over leverage the whole account.
Okay, so a 1 to 5, so that's a probability of less than 30% each time.
But it's usually higher than that.
Okay, okay. But that's merely
Just
more of the
because.
loss too. That's the counter of the loss. So it's either you win bigger than 30, or you lose. You stop your loss at 30. Would you say that, or less than 30? It's really a stop loss at less than 30, if that's the case.
Yeah, yeah. And if you want to break it down in layman's terms, like I said, basically what that means, like we'll just take trading for example. You basically going for $150 and you got a $30 stop loss. So if you think about it, the probability 3 out of 4 trades of me having a business plan, having a mindset, not being greedy. You think about it. If I lost it 3 times, yeah, I'm down 90. But guess what? When it finally hit on that fourth time, I still made a profit. Now, if you ain't leveraging your account right, you think about it. If you're going for a 1 to 1 trade and don't know how to structure yourself to look at the bigger picture, you might be going in for I'm willing to lose $30, but I don't know how to make no more than $30. Now look at the probabilities on that. So if you lose that 3 times and you only learn the short term, the quick route, the quick hustle, the quick flip, you down $90. You only know how to make $30 on your fourth trade. How much money you made? You lost $60. So that's very critical. Not to over leverage really nothing you doing. No type of business you're doing. You gotta have some kind of strategy to grow your business. That's why people don't grow their business. They're looking for the home run. Ain't no
Okay.
home run.
Okay. Well, as you were speaking, I was thinking about how rich people take very simple things, make them look complex to the average person, and then the average person thinks that what the rich people are doing is very complex, and it's not simple. Could you speak about that possibly even with the trading when you hear that when someone says that to you, what would you say? How is the trading made overcomplicated? How is it so simple? But how is it really overcomplicated? And I really want you to talk about this corner from the perspective of somebody that's sitting in front of you that has a college degree that they think that they're going to have the biggest issue learning the trading, where someone that's just very neophyte, very uneducated about most about at least about technical processes and stuff, because they think the trading is a technical process, that they don't get overwhelmed with technical process because they haven't been inundated with institutional learning. Could you talk about that from your perspective, how someone that doesn't have that institutional education might have a better opportunity, but really speaking on it from the complexity to the simplicity conversation?
Basically, like I said, we both know, like I said, when rich people make their money, they're not working hard to make their money. So the problem we have, certain people, I don't have, is that, oh, matter of fact, I just talked to the lady earlier. She was talking about her friend with the same way. She a A plus student. She learned a different way. I'm gonna go read all this and not follow instructions. So you look on your job and you wonder why this dude the supervisor? He ain't got the same degree I got. I got the master's degree. Guess what? He probably understand business. Trading the same way. Money is made off the old systems. So if you get in trading and you think you want to be the smartest one, they got plenty of information out there for you. But it's even playing field because guess what? You take somebody from a background that know how to use common sense, that has a little bit of patience, and instantly they make way more money than you. And you've been working hard on your job and you thought education was the only thing you was gonna need. Yeah, you need education, but you need that common sense. And trading is about common sense. I just sat down with a younger guy, super smart, on trying to write my own algorithm. He got indicators, he got a lot of stuff on his chart. Boom, I walk up, okay, what you getting into? Oh, simplified. They use the same price points over and over again. Yeah, that's finna go up. That's simplicity over trying to say I'm the top in the class. It ain't about being top in the class in business. It's about sitting there paying attention to detail and not overthinking certain situations. And a lot of people overthink situations. Or you might hit it big one time and think you made it.
Hmm. It's interesting that you even bring that latter point up because I would ask a different question, but it's probably not related completely to trust funds and trust, but it always can go back towards trust fund management and the fund management. When people even talk about funds and what it should be doing, could you even talk about how recently we've talked about uh, people trying to give their money away. They saved up their money and they don't know how to invest the money. They saved the money, but they invested. They don't know how to invest the money. So really, they're still more of a detriment to themselves by still holding on to large lump sums of money, and then wanting to give it away to someone else to make the money for them. Could you talk about that mindset when people are trying to give trust funds away for someone else to grow the funds, and instead of you taking more of a direct investment role, and that's why you see a lot of private family offices opening up right now. It's because you see a family wanting to take more of a direct investment role instead of it being through a 401k at their job, or some type of third party investment. Could you talk about that?
Well, some people just everybody want the money, but everybody don't want to work for the money. Then sometimes you get to a certain point, like they go back to common sense. You had to build a team. But most people really don't build a team because they want to control all the money and be the number one guy, be the person that everybody talk to. So a lot of people get confused in their structure. And one thing I learned about business, you ain't gonna learn about business the right way until you get your feet wet and actually get in the environment. It ain't in the book. That's something I didn't learn. And like I said, it's an even playing field for everybody. So everybody that's sitting there listening, guess what? Cornell don't got that PhD. Cornell don't even got that college degree. But I can get in some rooms that people with PhDs and masters cannot get into right now, but just because I learned about money and I learned how business operate.
Hold on,
It's
hold on, hold,
not.
hold on, Cornell. So then somebody in the chat says, is there any information about Cornell's trading company available to the public? You spoke on Cornell speaking at universities. We never said he spoke at a university. We said that he actually talked to people that
First of
went
all,
to
I'm just gonna go on
university.
and clean that.
Go ahead.
Cornell doesn't have a company. So when you listen to us on here, Cornell does this to help you guys out. Cause I'm gonna tell you one thing about trading. Cornell doesn't need anybody money whatsoever to trade. That's what I teach people. The skill you learning is just like going and learn. Like I said, we talk about this all the time. Let's keep it simple. It's a skill just like learning how to cut hair, carpentry, and anything else. So when we talk about money, Christian, know I say this all the time. I can't make you go get your own money. But if you think that I'm recruiting you for a class, I don't have to recruit you for a class because I'm gonna make money regardless if I do that class or not. I'm just sharing the information as I go to the ones that may want to change their family legacy or build some generational wealth and actually get to doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is serving a purpose in your life and not working and chasing money. So no, Cornell doesn't have a trading company. You wanna know why I do webinars? Because Cornell go in his email and have a flood of emails from people that's trying to change their lives because they done heard somebody else that then came over here and been around Cornell and he's sharing the information and say, hey, you might want to do this. This might be one of your best bets before he disappears. And then you can't get in contact with him. So nah, ain't nothing gonna be online because ain't got nothing to prove to nobody online. And guess what? I know most of y'all traders that y'all following online. I ain't gotta talk about it. I know what they do and don't do. Cause guess what? I get phone calls from them. So no, to answer your question, ain't no videos. I'm not selling you nothing.
It's that's the interesting part. I think
And I think people
Yeah.
when y'all hear me and Christian talk, y'all don't even understand the businesses we in. We don't have to sell nobody nothing. But if you understand the two businesses I'm in or what we in, you understand that I need to get the information so I can be exactly like they are. Because guess what? We don't have to depend on other people to go make our money. It's gonna naturally happen. I got the skill. I can sit at my house and make whatever I want to make every single day, and at the same time, I can teach my kids the same thing. They're gonna be straight. Now we got real businesses set up. Now, when my kids get older, we talking about operating a trust. While everybody else at school getting their advanced degrees, my kids gonna be learning how to operate their businesses that really came from learning this skill set. And at the same time, I'm gonna teach them the skill set so they don't have to go depend on nobody like you or anybody else. That's why I learned how to trade. And I can make whatever I want to make from my house. So contacting me and thinking I'm gonna sell you or pitch you, ask a lot of people. If you ain't serious, you don't even get a response back from Cornell. It's for you. Christian the same way. It's for you. So when we have these conversations, take heed to these conversations because some of the stuff we share, some people ain't gonna even share you this simple information that we're giving you without putting the fee behind it. So ask yourself how much free trading stuff have you seen online that don't lead to them upselling you to a class. So that's why you don't see me with nothing online because I don't have time for that. Trade opened the doors for where, like I said, I got two, three multi-million-dollar opportunities in front of me from trading, opening that door. And what it did, open that door because I can have the money. Then guess what? Now I got the education. I'm gonna operate out my trust, and I'm gonna take care of the family and grow the trust. The trust. When you talking about trust fund, we're gonna grow the trust as a whole for that generational wealth, and that's what we're talking about right now. That's the difference between trust fund and trust.
It's interesting
People just
because
hear the word trust and think, "Oh, I'm protected." Guess what? How many trusts is out there, Christian?
oh, it's a bunch over 80. It's a bunch of them.
But that ain't what we talking about.
Right.
So people get happy just to say, "I gotta trust," but still ain't set up the right way because it ain't how we think, and that's the uneducated way of thinking.
And to be completely honest, that came from continuing education. That's why the Vault provides the continuing education program. That's why even your course is a continuing education program. Because when you think about it, people come to you, like you say, they've been trading for 17 years, and they come to you and they like, oh man, I never
And
had
they
this
still
before.
come to me,
Yeah.
and I ain't never had this before. And I had guys like the last webinar I just did. I had guys that been traded, and they'll come on. Yeah, I could get testimonials and all that from these people if I really wanted to, and y'all will see. But the work speaks for itself. When I get on the class, it's people on the class, and I ain't really got advertised that much. So by the time one over, my email is flooded already because somebody that missed it or they done sat around and we try to preach on not sitting around. Get in the trade, get in the trust training, and stop putting it off because then you're gonna put it off to a situation gonna come up when you could have been learning. Okay, ain't nothing wrong with a job, but are you working to build something on the side besides that job to take care of your family just in case that job go away? And now when people hear us having these conversations, they sit at the house and talk to their wives and everybody else and be like, yo, yeah, hear what they saying. We need to make a change. And that's how people calling me now. That's how I get my people because we show and tell. The proof is there.
Right.
We don't have to go advertise. People gonna contact us regardless because them, not him. Guess what? He just helped another family. Trading the same way. I just helped another family. I just helped somebody that probably, guess what, thought, man, I ain't got nothing but a high school diploma. That- If I told y'all the numbers on some of the people what they making that don't have them college background, and usually don't be the ones, I hate to say that's catching on because they trading has to be dumbed down. That's why you hear me say about common sense. So really, ordinary people catch on to it quicker than more advanced people because more advanced people thinking they can solve the system instead of looking at rich people don't make their money hard. And y'all know what they do with trade? They put it right in your face. I teach it. They put it right in your face. You gonna complicate it. They do that on purpose because it ain't made for everybody. That's why everybody ain't in the 1%. We're gonna give you more than enough information. You say you smart. I got a ton of information for Christian to go study. I got 85 trusts for Christian to go study. Do Christian got to go study 85? No, because he got common sense. He got education. He got around the right people. That's how rich people operate. We're gonna
Right.
give y'all the systems
Mm-hmm.
and let y'all overthink it.
That was a great example right there. Are you gonna go research the 80 when they really got like over 100? I just say 80, but it's really over 100. They put a whole bunch of different contract names out here, ladies and gentlemen, because is a contract, so it can have its own name, and so it's so many different ones. Um, and even now, when people ask about the trading, there's people even in the chat requesting, hey, where can I sign up for the course? And things of that nature. And it's just always like, we always appreciate you all, and we tell you all, the reason why, we finally bring Cornell and say, hey, is this something you want to do? Is because there are people that keep typing in the chat saying, hey, when is the class? How do I get in contact with Cornell? We get those emails at the vault. How do we get in contact with Cornell for the trading class? We want you all to benefit from it live because it's been live this year. It's been a great run this year, but it's been live where on Sundays the market is open and you all can see the funds being either made or lost or whatever. So, you know,
That's it. And see, we billing people. See, this is what y'all don't understand. It is people taking action.
yeah.
That's why we come on here. It's people taking action with the trade. It's people taking action with the trust. It's people that's moving with us. Like I said, Cornell might. Well, I am. I'm gonna do one more webinar. Then after that, it's so many people moving with us. We're gonna do a live event later on in the year. Cause the thing about it, I'm a humble dude. I done stood in front of 1,000 people in the room. I ain't gotta advertise like everybody else on, cause that ain't what it's about. It's about helping families. That's why he does trust. It's about helping families. Guess what? I appreciate him being around with the trust. You got to break the bread. That's somebody that with business. You got to break the bread in business. Period. Or guess what? I'm gonna say y'all on this trust you don't need over here. I'm gonna tell you this right here because you're not educating yourself. You think because you got a little money. Now, let's talk about it too. People with the money thinking you still don't gotta work. You can buy everything. You can't buy everything. Everything ain't for sale.
Hmm.
Common sense is not for sale. A lawyer should be working for you, not you working for the lawyer. That's what you get taught in private education.
Right.
How many of you go to your attorney and wait on your attorney to tell you everything? Oh, because you got big money. Now you just paid for a trust. I just had the conversation with a guy interview. Oh yeah, I got the trust, yada yada. Yeah, I'm doing this. But we don't have the same thing. Huh? My attorney said I'm good to go. Got charged $20,000 for a regular state trust.
Yeah.
Well, my attorney told me the real estate I need to get a land trust. Go ahead, get you a land trust. But I'm in this private world. I'm gonna operate because I took the time and wasn't lazy to get understanding. Guess what? This is your family that we talk about. All this is y'all family you are talking about.
Right.
Don't get too cocky because you're making some money, or I don't give a care what they saying, or I make a good job. What you gonna do if your job lay you off? Let's compare. Or you even setting anything up for your family on the side? Because guess what? You can go back down to zero with a good job in a matter of months. Oh, I'm straight. I got $56,000 saved. Okay, you had $56,000 saved when you had a job. Now them same bills are still due. Now you got to hit that money. I had these conversations with people. I'm not just talking, and they start realizing like, dang, I just worked 12, 13 years. In my head, I'm stuck on $100,000 job, so I'm too proud to go get two jobs. And boom, 6 months go by, you done went through your fund that you had saved up, and you back to square one. So how do you feel you better than somebody that just has a high school diploma? That's how people operate and think. I ain't never thought like that. I don't come from no background. I was taught the common sense way. That's why I catch on to things quick. Cause I understand how money works.
Well, another thing
Guess what?
is,
If I'm gonna do research, I wanna know how money works. I wanna know how business operates. I do the research.
I'm gonna just say this, because we sit here and we talk about it, but like me and Cornell said, we're open to doing a face-to-face workshop. If you guys want to get connected with that, feel free to email us, Christian at Trust Christian, and we'll take inquiry responses. Because that's something that we know we already know where we want to do it. We've done them in the past, and it's just one of those things of us doing it again. That's all it comes down to. But I want to comment on you people listening to these guys over the internet. that are just listening to people. And they're talking about the trust. They're talking about the trust funds. But how many of them are helping you make money trust funds? How many are helping you grow trust funds? And it's you're either investing or you're spending. And this is something I always do with that episode with the investing versus spending. If you're spending your time, you're wasting your time. If you're investing your time, that means you're going to make not only a time investment, because time equals money, you're going to make a financial investment. Whereas a lot of these guys are selling stuff over the internet, but at the end of the day, where are you making money out of the money investment? You put time in, you put money in, you're supposed to get time and money back out. And we see so many people that are literally listening to podcasts and people over the internet that can't share with them that they turned a profit. Because we're in this space where if it's over the internet, it's free, so it's non-profit. It's not non-profit. We're not in a non-profit space. The internet's a profit space. Business is a profit space. And then they got guys over the internet that are selling, they're selling the show. And people look at the vote and say, hey, can you show me a little bit? Is won't you invest in yourself? In investment, there's a risk. Didn't you invest your time going to school? And how did that work out? Didn't you invest your time in going to the football game? Didn't you invest your time going to a restaurant? Didn't you invest your time? So it's an investment of not just time, but money. And one of the differences that we've seen at the Vault is when we put the money where our mouth is. These guys, these so-called teachers over the internet, they're selling a pile of BS. Straight up. And anybody can contact the Vault and put the Vault to the test. You guys can look in the chat right now, and there is no true defamation. And it won't be. Because why? The people go through get what they're paying for. Remember, if you spent your money, you wasted it. There's a bunch that probably have. And then the ones that invested it, guess what? They understand it. It's a continuing education program. So they continue investing going to the law library. They continue investing watching the videos after what Cornell's done the webinar. For all of you all that are listening to the chat right now, Cornell did a webinar. If he did a webinar and you've gone back and at least watched the videos for more than the hours that it was done, type into the chat. If Cornell did a training for what 3 hours on one day, and then you did I think even 5 days on the last one, if any of you have done any of them, if you gone back and watched the hours that the webinar actually was, that means you watched it again. You watched it again. Then please type into the chat. But at the end of the day, most people, they spent their money. And they're spending money at a job. And they're spending money this. And they're spending money that. Because why? It's not business. It's personal for them. But when you deal with trust funds, you know it's business. It's never personal. Ladies and gentlemen, I've sat in front of so many wealthy people recently and have talked to them about a simple principle because they've been talking about pulling down a salary. These are people that they have the money. They're making $250,000 every 2 weeks, every month. There's $1 million a year business. That means it's $80K a month. They're making the money. And they're talking about pulling down a salary. And then we point out Steve Jobs, who didn't take a salary. Then we point out Roy Seabag, who he taking a $1 salary. The company's worth over $100 million. And then we talk about Steve Jobs, Bezos, who's reported to make it under $82K. And then we talk about Zuckerberg, who doesn't take the salary. It just goes to the Zuckerberg Foundation. And then we have to sit in front of people that are athletes. That the NFL is, the NBA is telling them you have to be a W-2 employee. So we're sitting in front of a first rounder that went in the first round, and he's a W-2 employee. So he's making $1 million. Bam, 30%'s gone off the rip. Taxes, bam. And Cornell, we sit on the phone and we talk about it. Once you make over $250,000, there's almost like an extra 10%. So he's really not getting taken 30 out. 40's getting taken out. So off of $1 million, off of $1 million a year. What is that? What is it? 300K? 300K, 400K is being taken out. So 600K is being held. So when people talk about the lifestyle and they talk about the decisions that people have to make, why not get them to go directly from the team to the actual foundation? Why not? When we even sit in front of athletes that play major league sports, why wouldn't they go get the insurance policies so they can have it for one time? You only need one contract. And we sit in front of athletes that will put $40 million away. They got a contract. Actually, they didn't even have to put it away. The bank loaned them $40 million because they had a $40 million contract for the insurance policy. And then people sit here and gripe and possibly gripe about the education that they might have to invest in, the stuff that they don't know. Trust funds are something that requires due diligence on and research. It's a constant investment. It's a constant at risk. Do you think, Cornell, you can operate in a trust as a trustee if you're thinking like an employee?
No, definitely not.
That's just the facts. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking to say, oh, I'm going private, or oh, I'm looking to be a trustee, you already know. It's only one way to think over here, ladies and gentlemen. And that's not the way you're thinking currently about money, about your lifestyle, about any of it. Oh, I'm going to learn all the information before I do it. It doesn't work in the private. Sometime in the private, you have to make very fast decisions. You have to be very quick. You have to be very nimble, especially when funds aren't big. When funds aren't big, I think that the pressure is on to actually get more funds in the fund to grow the fund. And we're not talking about funds because I even just thought about it. We're not even talking about raising funds from other people. We're talking about the funds that you have to create to go out to, or the trust has to create, and you have to create as a trustee to go out and be able to do more. Because as a trustee, you're a fund manager, so you're supposed to grow what initially is there. And then here we go. Let's go ahead back to we'll go to the bottom, the bottom of the bottom question, Cornell, which is, I don't have any money to start out. How does that work? I don't have any money to start out. Oh no, the so-called the average American, because our demographic is not just ultra high net worth, high net worth. We talk to clientele that's under $250,000. So we're going to speak to all levels because, ladies and gentlemen, if you knew that your jump was literally a year away from hard work and being structured properly and dedication to the game, when you all hear the numbers that people produce when they dedicate their life to what is it that they want, it's a year away. We live in 2019, going on 2020. It's a year away. It's you getting with the right people. It's you making the right investments for a minimum of a year, for 12 months. Cornell didn't make money with trading for 8 months, ladies and gentlemen. If you had to dedicate your life to studying something for 3 to 5 hours a day for 8 months, are you willing to do it on your job or whatever you're doing Postmates for some of you all? Are you willing to do it? That's the extra hours to live free, and then sit over here and we laugh about how much money was spent on the children going on a 2-day trip. Just a 2-day trip. Just local, hey, we're going to go out and have some fun. And that's what people, the so-called average American, still their salary in a week. Just a 2-day trip of fun. For your kids nowadays, it's someone's salary for a week. The movies got expensive, man. Having kids was expensive. Taking them to have some fun cost some money, man. Oh man, oh man. And I just really wanted to comment on that because there's a lot of fake teachers out here, playing on Robert Kiyosaki right now. There's so many fake teachers sitting over the internet telling you about, these cups and teacups and all this other stuff. And then you sit here and you're like, okay, so are they making money or losing money? And then Cornell says, hey, my probability is 1 to 5. So when you hear these other guys, they're sitting there just going 1 to 1 ratio. You already know the mindset. They give away their mindset in their speech. Trust funds versus a trust. Trust funds, you can raise funds from other people, OPM. So many ways to do that. Uh, there's public trust funds and private. The closest we come to the public trust funds are the Private Family Foundation, because clearly the money is still held for the benefit of the public. Um, And even when you deal with trust funds, why wouldn't you? People always say, "Oh, there's a trust fund set up. Do I need to set it up for my kids? Who's going to manage it after I go if something happens to me?" We'll see. If you don't even have the trust set up, and if you don't have the funds set up, we already know how that's going to go. It looks atypical. And that's why we're here to sit here and talk to you all about not just a lot of people get in, a lot of people contact the vault. Oh, I gotta trust, I gotta trust, I gotta trust. We hear it's like a repetitive ding dong that your door sounds when people are ringing your door. Ding dong, ding dong. That's all it is. Hey, I'll have a trust. But what happened to you knowing how to operate it? See, most people have to go to an institution, then they have to go to a bank. It's an institutional trustee, and the bank is now the trustee. Or then there are people that we sit in front of and they say, oh, well, the bank's going to set up the trust for $7,500. Okay, so you're trying to tell me you got $250,000 a year business and you're going to let, oh my gosh, I wish I could name the bank name. I was really about to name the bank name and I think that wouldn't be cool. We're not going to give them any positive or negative plug. But this is a bank. It's kind of like a regional bank in the States. It's not a national bank, but it's a regional bank. And the regional bank lets you all know that hey, we're gonna set up this entity for you for $7,500. What does the bank have to do with estate planning or tax planning? Nothing. So why would the bank put you in the best favorable trust for tax purposes? Once again, you're going to someone that would be considered coming from an uninformed family or coming from a controlled education environment. And that's basically, you might as well went to a financial advisor. Oh, we're going to go to a financial advisor. Financial advisor is going to tell us everything that we need to know. Really? Why do they have so many different positions on the financial team then? In family office space. Why? It's because they understand that there's no one guru. And that's what people are doing over the internet. They're listening to these guys over the internet trying to tell them how to, discharge stuff and get rid of, debts and stuff of that nature. But what happened to generating positive cash flow? So many people on the internet, they're not talking about structures. If you don't have the right structure, how you going to have the right profit? The profit comes through the structure. That's why the S Corp, C Corp, and LLC aren't created equal. It's the structure. So if the structure's not right, then how are you going to have the money come right? How's the cash flow going to be right? But see, that comes from you investing in your private education instead of sitting over the internet and taking free information. You might have to invest the $250 just to figure out, hey, what's the best entity for me? LLC, S Corp, or C Corp? Why? Because some goofball accountant is going to tell you to go inside of a daggone S Corp. For what reason? They get double taxed? Oh, I'm in the S corp, or then we sit in front of entrepreneurs. They don't even know why they're in the LLC. I don't know, just the lawyer told me to just do it. I'm doing it, and then it's still a daggone sole prop, and then it's a daggone, what is it still? It's still a disregarded entity. I got an LLC. Well, okay. Well, here's the first stupid question for you. Is it a single member LLC? Well, yeah. So that means you own it. That means full liability. They tell you it's limited liability. You got liability nonetheless. And it's not as limited as you think. And if it is limited, how limited is it? How limited is it? Don't say it's limited, because that's what the goofball that sold you said. Oh, it's limited liability. Well, how much liability do you got? Do you know that? You're in an entity that you don't know the liability on it. But I guarantee you at the end of the year, you're going to know that tax liability. Don't honor that tax liability at the end of the year. It's that simple. It's investing in your education with the trust funds, whether it's coming out of nowhere with it, or whatever needs to be done. But sitting over the internet, listen to these guys talk about it for free. Contact these guys and ask them how to set up the corp. How do we set up the corp? That's the first step. If you're not in the private, it's setting up a corp, some type of entity, because it's business. It's not personal. How many more seasons, how many more years, how many more months are they going to sell you on how to make money through your name? They're telling you how to make money through your name. And we sit in front of the gambit, the high net worth, ultra high net worth, and then people that aren't making it. And it's simple. It's business, not personal. Every great knows that. We sat in front of someone the other day. Oh, well, How does Bill Gates look? Well, Bill Gates looks like the same way we look. Bill Gates the same way. Well, he went through his tax hit and he came out of it with the foundation, the private family foundation. It goes straight from Microsoft Foundation to private to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and he still doesn't even take a salary in there. In the private family foundation that has received the largest distribution dividend yield from Microsoft, which is billions of dollars. And people try to say, "Oh, well, he's still kind of like a rich man in the world." Yeah, that's public now. That's what's going to the public charity, right? A year? Is that a year? Right. And you talking about, oh, he's the richest man in the world. He's only worth $60 billion. Right. We all know what Microsoft is. I think Apple and Amazon are supposedly the only 2 trillion. They're pretty, and they're pretty, and I think that's American companies, whether y'all know it or not. Alibaba is one of the largest internet companies. Period. It isn't Amazon. So if Amazon's $1 trillion company, what is Alibaba? See, that's the news people want to play into. Like Cornell say, they playing off your emotions by you watching the news. We don't even watch the news anymore. We're looking at the charts. You don't even need to look at the news. The only reason to look at the news, Cornell, I see now is I say, okay, the news sometime will let you know when the spike might go up or down faster or slower, from what I can see. Is that true to you? Uh-oh, you're not there.
I heard part of it.
No, I said the oh man, what was I saying? I was talking about the trade and how, watching the news you get a better understanding maybe of why something did something the way it did, even if you're not looking at the news. But when you go back and look at the news after you looked at the chart, then you can say, okay, I see why the market did that today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but like I said, we talk about time. It's about getting educated. Everything manipulated. So I pretty much know what's going on before it happens. A lot of the time, it is unless it just some very very critical just happened that out the blue happened, but most of it's predetermined. FYI for most people that don't know that.
Yeah. Trust funds. What do you think about the sacrifice that you have to make as a trustee, not taking a salary? What do you think? What do you think of that?
Sacrifice?
Yeah, what do you think of that? What do you think of that sacrifice?
Is it really a sacrifice or a big sacrifice? If you think about it,
Uh,
it's just a mental. That's another mindset thing. Most
right.
people think they got to have a salary. Most of them think they got to have a salary.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes the people they don't look at like you say the maybe the risk. Some people do look at it and they say, okay, I know that at the end of the day, this is something that, how do I say this? They I think it's an ego play. They don't know.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's an
It's
ego play. People want to take
straight
a
ego
salary.
play.
I have to have a salary. I have to have this in my name. Even when we talk about the lawyer saying, hey, people don't want to divest themselves of assets and things of that nature. Um, that's more of an ego play. With the funds, when we even talk about just making sure that the company funds are used for company purposes, so many people don't they think about themselves first. And the trust funds are set up for the next generation. When we even talk about the insurance policies, we talk about that those funds are supposedly obviously is set up for a death benefit so people can benefit from the next generation. And shout out to there was a rapper recently, a hip hop artist. His name is Nipsey Hussle, and when Cornell was telling me to listen to him for such a long time, he's like, "Man, you gotta listen to this guy. You gotta listen to this guy." I never just cared to listen, but I finally listened to a track when I was with Cornell one time, and we were listening to the entire album, the last album, and literally inside of the raps, he was talking about uh, having an insurance policy and a trust. And it's just so awesome to see that, sometimes when you do get means, you get more knowledge. And that was something that you can see he was clearly investing in. He was investing in his private education. The whole song, he even talks about where his accountant lived. He even talked about, where his tax guy was. These are things that he put in actual music. So it was just really awesome to hear uh, that aspect of the last album and where he was with, finance and business, because so many people think that they needed to give something to the family afterwards, whereas this man was on top of his business game to where he made it a point to invest in his education. And Cornell can speak even deeper on how he invested his education to get around people that were smarter than him in the business environment with the music, whether that was with Master P, or just other people that we know that he was doing, studying with. But to see, someone that has the education now to say, okay, I have these insurance policies and a trust available for my family, you all can see that he was structured properly. He's talking about it in his rap. He was so confident. He was talking about it in the song that, hey, I'm not just dealing with trust. I got insurance policies on my life too. So it's interesting for people to say, well, what should I do that or should I not do that? I admire this person. I don't admire this person. When you look up to people, you don't have to think about a suit all the time. You could think about someone that comes from not having a lot of means. He didn't come from a lot of means, but he was able to still invest in the education and get that. And of course, he might not have. It wasn't like someone was walking up to him saying, "Hey, you got to put your money from your rhyming, from your raps inside of a trust and an insurance policy." No one walked up to him and told him that. That's something you learn from investing and get around the right people. When you see who he studied with, those are people that know how to own nothing, control everything. And we can go through the list of music artists that come from hip hop that get around wealthier individuals, sometimes from other cultures, and they learn things and they move on. Where you live at, where you travel, that all makes a difference. So we just appreciate you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. We wanted to talk about the trust funds. Wanted to talk about what's in the funds. A lot of people say, "Oh, I want to get into real estate." A lot of you all have real estate, and you're running naked with the real estate in your name. You're running naked. A lot of people say, "Well, can I take a property that has a mortgage on it and put it in a trust?" Ladies and gentlemen, if you can, how about this? How about everyone that asked that question go to your local lawyer and ask them? You just Google real estate lawyers or Google a lawyer locally and ask them, "Can I take a property out of my name and put it inside of a trust?" And see what they say. So you have to have someone that knows what they're talking about. You have to. But a lot of you all are running around with property and it's not protected. How you gonna make money off something that's not protected? The four keys to wealth is, first you gotta protect it, then you gotta preserve it, then you gotta grow it, then you can pass it on. But you gotta protect it first. What do we say? Proper structure precedes proper profit. So how you gonna have a profit on the property dealing with the growth if you don't have it in the right structure, which is the protection? We share because, hey, like Cornell say, we don't care if you do it or don't do it. But at the end of the day, there are people from us doing the podcast and wanting to just have an open conversation about things that some of us don't come from that background. And because there is an internet, we can have this conversation over the internet. It's fair. But we have these conversations in person with people that's around us, people that are wanting to be around us. It's that simple. People say, "Oh, I don't have too many wealthy people where I live at. I don't have too many friends that are thinking like that." Well, okay, that's the podcast. That's Cornell just sharing with you. That's me just sharing with you. That's you. And when you want to take it to the next level, you invest in that education to go where those people that you want to be like are going. And what's so interesting is how the trading for Cornell led him into other rooms, such as just other rooms outside of the trading. That's what's been interesting. And if you could speak on that, that'd be great. It's how the trading led you to something else. It didn't just keep you in the trade, because the trading alone, the bonuses are huge, and trading alone, You can make a ton of capital. You don't need to leave trade. That's why I don't think about anything more nowadays, Cornell, is because I say, what is the point when you can just go in and scoop out what you need monthly and yearly? What do you need to what do you need other people for in general, you know?
Yeah, and then what's getting me in them other rooms, like I said, is common sense and having knowledge. Not thinking, oh, hey, Christian, I run a business, and then people don't want to hear about you just running a business. People want to have real conversations with you at the end of the day. So a lot of people don't realize they mess themselves up when they get into a room with someone and you pretty much overtalk yourself. Guess what? You in the room with people with money. So what's being discussed in the room, Christian, is business, not money. And I think a lot of people miss that whole point. And you pretty much don't know it, but you talk yourself out.
I think that actually that is a great point because so many people they wonder, okay, should I be talking about the money or should I be talking about the business? Because if I give him my pitch, I should let him know how much it costs, right? I gotta let him know how much the idea costs. I gotta let him know how much money I need for the idea. We get that. So for all you all that listen to hear that's the thought that you have or a question, we definitely get that question. What do you say to that though?
Said what?
About the business or the money. Should they pitch the person the numbers right there on the spot for meeting them? Like you say, they'll people sometimes people get into these environments and they get into different environments with different people and they talk themselves out of business because they feel like they have to talk about the numbers and they just don't talk about the business. They don't talk about their passion about the business. Are you passionate about trading? Do you have conversations out of passion or do you have conversations out of money?
Oh, about the it's about the passion and knowing what you're in. Because guess what? When you're in the room, you got to bring something to the room. So a lot of people don't realize why they don't get nothing did. Guess what? People already got money, so they ain't there to hear you talk about money. They here to see, okay, what exactly your company do? How does it come in line with what I'm doing? Okay, can we collaborate on that? If not, guess what? They moving on. They don't want to hear about your fancy car, your house, none of that. They don't want to hear about none of that.
And I think that's where the market is. I think sometimes people think sometimes you can be too short with the business conversation. Like, oh, I gotta overtalk this person's ear. I gotta really sell them when I want to make them like me. This ain't about making you like them. Cornell, could you talk about even that the mindset of I have to be liked instead of just getting to the business? I don't think we've ever really addressed that on the podcast here, but could you address the having to be liked as opposed to getting the S done? Because there's so many people that they're trying to be liked instead of getting S done.
That's the internet world. Everybody want to post videos and say they're gonna get rich. Like I had that conversation with my daughter the other night. Like, do you think them people really just posting videos and just coming up like that? No, they not. It's a business behind it. You know the business like I know the business. It's a business behind it. But people want to be like that. Go back to being lazy again. What we talking about? You rather be light than sit down and learn something that might be able to get you in that room. Cause guess what you gonna do? Take the easy route, the lazy route. Christian, I'm gonna make a video. Guess what? We're not making these videos to make money off the internet, social media. It's really to educate the people. That's it. YouTube ain't calling me. Facebook ain't calling me. I really don't care. They don't call me. 'Cause guess what? I'm taking the time to build what I need to build. So when I get in them rooms, the reason I'm gonna give y'all a little secret. The reason I in the room, no matter if you got money or don't got money, Like just like how y'all go to school, educate yourself on the right thing. Go read about real life things. If you understand business, read up on business. Go to the library. It's ways to do it, but who's willing to work? That's the question. Number one question: who's willing to work?
Well, I think it goes back to a person's belief system. We talk to a specific level of clientele. It's not that it's all about the money, but it is focused on making sure that people can grow and protect and pass on and preserve all those things to their family. We all come from a family, so it all starts with the family. And that's something that that's why we really do the podcast, because there's families that they want to have more of a conversation with us. You guys can type into the chat, and we talk to you guys through the chat, but we really just even address questions that we get throughout the days, throughout the week, from week to week, questions that we may get that people ask these type of things. I want Cornell actually to talk about someone coming. I think we have some audience too that comes from a well-to-do background, and they really are used to being a people pleaser, and they're not used to understanding straightforward talk. If you could talk about the people that come from really good environments, that they're not used to people speaking more direct and more straight with them, and how to maybe even handle that when it comes to dealing with the funds, because so many people are willing to invest with the salesman instead of focus on investing with the people that are just giving them the straightforward talk, and not really selling them on anything. Could you talk about that? Could you just address that mindset? I know we talked about this before, but if you could address that mindset, because so many people they say, "Oh man, this person, they kind of hurt my feelings when they were talking. They didn't sales pitch me. They gave me kind of like the brutal, honest answer or truth."
That's because some people, even though I'm having success, I'm still gonna show my kid the best of both worlds. Because when they're in those environments like that and don't know how to respond, it can get very serious for people. So a lot of, I'm gonna say normal people, but people that live in the regular lives gonna go through a lot more real life situations, I would say. So if you're not used to going through that, like I said, when you think somebody yelling at you, they not yelling at you, and people miss that whole point. So it's kind of hard to explain because, like I said, it depends on how your parents expose you to them environment. Because they can mess you up because you can see one side of the world, and then like I said, you think these folks the most evil people you ever ran across. Because guess what? Your world has always been happy, the happy world. You ain't seen when a tough decision got to be made.
And I like the way you ended it there and the way you described it, because that's truly what it is where the tough decisions have to be made. It's the in the middle of the battle decisions, the in the middle of the fire decisions, that you have to think fast. And I hear people always say, "Oh, it sounds like you think fast." It's like, well, okay, well, what are we supposed to be thinking slow? Like, there's no need to be thinking slow. What about should be done slowly? Nothing. So at the end of the day, I think everything should done with timeliness. But like we talked about, some decisions have to be made rather quickly, and that involves a sternness in the voice sometimes that people may not be aware of it. Even the imperativeness or the importance of something being done or not being done correctly is really really important. So we appreciate you all for tuning live or listening to replay. uh, we provide the private education as opposed to the public education. Just like Cornell says, proprietary materials is private. It's not public. So there is no email the vault and say, hey, is there anything we can read to watch and read in the public? No. And then on the back of that, on the back of that, it's you're enrolled in private trustee training or going through the private webinar with him, so you all can see how to maneuver particularly in that space and go forward from there. But we really want to do this episode because there's so many people out here that they not live y'all not living your life by a balance sheet possibly, like every week or every month. And by that being the case, it just it just shows that there's a lack of trust fund mentality. It so many people they come to the bar and say, "Oh, we're getting there, we're getting there." Ladies and gentlemen, you're here. It's not I'm going private. You are private. It's just living the lifestyle daily. Not sometimes. Not get in it and then you stop it. It's you get in it and you keep going. So many people might be even scared and say, "Oh man, once I start that, I can't stop it." Well, what are you doing in public right now? You started the public and you ain't stopped it yet. So what's the point of going to the private and stopping? People might have fear of that. They want to go to the private, but they going to know they can't go back. Or they think about possibly even going back. Double-mindedness. I'm going to go back. I'm going to possibly go back. Those are the people that don't belong over here in the private side and they're compromised to it. They're going to get over here and learn secrets and try to tell them out loud in the public because they're mad because they couldn't make it right. Because they didn't want to live privately the whole time. They were like, "Oh man, I just want to know what it's about, but I don't want to live that way." How many of you all are listening right now? If you're still listening, you want to know what it's like, but you don't really want to live this way. What do you mean? It's no social media. What do you need that for? The Rockefellers. Do you know any of the Rockefellers on social media? Do you know any of the Rothschilds on social media? Do you know any of the Waltons that's still in the top? They got 4 or 5 family members in the top 10, 100 richest people. Bill Gates ain't got social media. Warren Buffett ain't got social media. They have personality. They got people that they pay people to do that. We're not talking about everybody. Oh, there's a lot of people that got money, but then when you all hear about the stories that we talk about with Aretha Franklin, or even when we even talk about recently with Jay-Z, Cornell, we were talking with Cornell about that. He had over $200 million in cash and open business. It was just it was just open cash. This is money that's not protected. One and two, it's openly reported. Now, once again, when you report the Forbes, you report what you want them to know. But when we talk about even what was reported, it was still a large portion reported unprotected. Not everybody on that list looks like that way, ladies and gentlemen. Just because someone's happy that someone says they reached $1 billion, that's a media ploy. It was to promote a look. But at the end of the day, there's still proper structure that we're talking about in this respect. And when we talk about trust funds, if you're a billionaire, why aren't you in a trust? Oh, did we forget about that? Did you guys forget about that? If he's a billionaire, why is he not in trust? Once again, when Cornell talked to me about the portfolio, it was 200 million off of just in his name. So that means you're going to get sued. People are going to sue you. Yes, because it's in your name. But when they don't know who's holding the assets, it's a little bit different. You got anything to comment on that one, Cornell?
You summed it up.
So,
You summed that one up.
yeah. So, that's why we go to the conferences with the billionaires to see how they sit in the room telling you they got an LLC, but the trust has LLC in the name. A lot of you all might not have caught what I just said, but it's fair. But once again, they have they have LLC in the trust name. And the only thing you see is X, Y, and Z LLC. And they're not in an LLC. That's what they want you to know. While they literally sit in the room and tell you, well, if we're going to buy any company out, if they don't have the team in place to make sure that they have a bank account in the Caymans, then, we make sure that they have that in place. Oh, really? Now, granted, these are high net worth clients. These are obviously a higher net worth client. They want to make sure that their money's running through internationally, but they're still operating internationally, whether that's in the States or abroad. They're still operating internationally. And so many people are walking around with these internet businesses and they don't think that they're international already. They got a domestic trust though. They got the well, they got the domestic ones, Cornell. We could talk about the names of that too, but they got the domestic trust. So the trust funds. Did you know that did you know if you're in a public trust that the funds are dictated by public legislation? That means by the government. The government regulates the trust. So now the funds that are in there are regulated based off of the government. That's not private. You listen this far to hear that. That's not private. Did you Are you still in control of it? We sat in front of a client. What? They got hit by the police. They got a lump sum of money. The government set up the trust for them. See, they were quick to the punch. So they set up the trust for them, and now any life they need, any money they ever need, it comes out of the trust. But guess what? They're not even a trustee. They're a beneficiary. So they can't do anything. There's nothing they can do. But there is some leeway. But there's no leeway. Why? Because the government owns the trust that was set up with the bank. And who's the trustees? Someone from the government and someone from the bank. The institutional trustee. And they're managing the funds for the beneficiary. That's why knowing, investing in your private education, whether it's $250 or whatever, is you invest in your private education, say, okay, I need to know what is the first proper step. So I can know the first proper step to move for my particular situation. Once you know that, go out into the free world and do business. Because that's where we are. And 2019 is to do business.
And educate yourself. And if you're gonna spend some money, invest in yourself and your family. Point blank, period. And you understand when you start moving around, you're gonna start meeting people that's probably moving the same way you moving. It's like I just went to a real estate conference. First one I ever went to, you had a real person that's doing something for real, creating generational wealth. He exposed his whole entire team to you. I ain't never seen nobody do no upsell. Pretty much told you what to do if you didn't have no money or had some money. But guess what? That comes from investing in yourself and your family. It wasn't free, but that go back to what we talk about all the time. How many of y'all go out to eat every week? Party, expensive clothes, shoes, purses, but you gonna say you ain't got the money. Chris know that. How many people gonna say they ain't got the money, but they just spent $300 on over the weekend party?
Yep. Yep. We appreciate you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. Trust funds versus trust. Really wanted to talk about this question because a lot of people ask, how they can start putting assets in a trust. They really don't know which trust to start out with. So you got to figure out not only what is an asset that's going to go in a trust, but you got to know which one to go into. And that's what the vault helps out with. I know Cornell actually is going to be doing another webinar. I'm not sure when. Y'all can contact us, Christian at Trust Christian, and we'll shoot you over to him. And you
I'm gonna
guys,
do one more, but this is what I want everybody on here. They're gonna go back and listen to. Start preparing yourself. We're gonna do one more online webinar. October. We ain't set the date yet. It's gonna be a live event. I'm gonna be in the room. We're gonna bring some people from our environment into the room. Christian gonna speak. So it's July now. We'll get more details over the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna do one more webinar, and I'm doing that webinar because I done did so many. When we get to the October, you're gonna be in an environment of people moving with us, and a lot of them people gonna been already went through the webinar or they started trust training, and you're gonna see exactly what we talking about. And the reason we're doing it live, because guess what? We're in a private world the way we operate. We ain't finna put it on the internet, but you can gladly come over here with us and learn how to start moving the correct way. Because if y'all getting on these conversations and listening to this channel, one, you thinking about it. Now you got to put some action to it. So if you're trying to move how we move, it comes a time you can listen to these videos so many times, but you're gonna have to call me or you're gonna have to call Chris and go on and make a move. Point blank, period. And people making moves. When you hear, you don't really hear me talk about what I make in trading. Guess what? It's a few hundred out of help trade. It's a few I know recently that quit their jobs. Like I had a conversation with us, a younger person I helped a while back. He, I didn't tell him to do it. He, like, now I'm going to school for the wrong thing. I got on this trade, boom. Man, I'm making what I was going to make. And I was going to school 4 years, and I looked up the job I was trying to get. I was going to start out with number 40,000. I'm making $500 a day now.
You had to throw that one in there. I like that one. That was good. He said $500
Cause,
a
Cause
day.
it's real stuff. You remember
Yeah,
when I tell you about my buddy I used to work with? He making $1,000 a day.
yeah.
Then you got people making $100 a day. That's $2,500 a month. And then if you set up right, you see in your money. You got people that go and work making, think about it, $4,000 in a month. Taxes hit them. What they got left? How many hours they just went to work? Now you got somebody sitting at the house, maybe taking their time for an hour or two every day and making easily $100, $200 a day. No problem for the rest of their life. Like I said, it's the choices. Like how we talking about trust and trust fund, people think that's the same. Oh, I'm good. No, my people, and I got them in trust fund. Nah, we talking about the same thing. Trust fund sounds like a fancy name for a mutual fund to me.
Right? Is this that's literally I was going to say a bank holding the money. I got my money in the trust fund. You know, a lot of people contact about and say that they dealing with the trust fund. They know about the trust
But you know
fund.
where that come from? Well, we trying to teach y'all the internet. Y'all on the internet, searching, 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 searching. How many of y'all really get up? You probably heard Christian say somebody irrevocable trust before. How many of y'all really went, got up and researched it besides on the internet?
Yeah.
Not too many. How many of y'all got up and researched trading beyond the internet? Guess what the information I got was beyond the internet.
Well, the thing about it is I mean, I know how I feel about the trading, but I think if people look at I know how to do the trust stuff, but if they look at the trade, maybe I think they're gonna be really blinded, or they're gonna see a lot of the everybody selling everything thing. You know, where it's like, oh, let me Google this real quick, and you see the five most top paid for advertisements for traders. So the guys that are trading the most, you know, or selling the most, you know, they're on the internet, and I just think that it's really sad because then you're left with like people that are just selling you packages. And they're not talking about institutional trading. They couldn't tell you institutional from retail or jackass from
Oh,
left ass.
nah.
They couldn't tell you a goddamn thing, but they want to sit here on the internet and tell you how to trade. Oh, how the hell somebody gonna tell you how to trade for free? First of all, if somebody's gonna tell you how to trade for free, they're wasting your goddamn time. Second of all, if they're not telling you, talking to you the same way Cornell telling you, say he don't need you to trade, they need to say they don't need you to trade. If they're not saying they don't need you to trade, guess what? They need you to make money. That's the difference. They need you to make money.
They need you to bring them five more people.
That's what they need. Oh, well, we're gonna have a webinar and we're gonna charge $45. Yep, sure thing, buddy. And what the hell is $4,500 when you're supposed to be making thousands of dollars a day in a month and a year? Thousands of dollars a month. Thousands. If you're one of the top traders over the internet, why are you teaching for $49 a month?
Thank you.
Why are you teaching on the internet for $49 a month,
And you
ladies and
know what?
gentlemen?
That go back to what we were just talking about. And I try to get people to see that. That go back to common sense. Listen what he just said. If you making what you say you making, why are you trying to charge me? Unless you got a following. But see, these people don't have following. They out on the internet looking for people.
Right.
I have an extremely large following. If y'all even search my name, you'll see. If you go into my pages or anything like that, I rarely even put anything up unless I'm just making a video for the people that's following me. Like I got a huge following outside the internet. Some of these guys don't even got that, but guess what? The internet is where people sit down and be lazy and click on the ad. Oh, well, Christian was gonna charge me $5, but this cat said he's gonna do it for $50. Then you look up, you done did it. Oh, get into it, boom. Now they want $3,000, or you done lost some money. Now you can't go call and get that private education no more. Now you got to get your money back up. And that's what people falling for the trap. They don't want to work. Or you one of them people. I always bring this example up because I run across these people all the time. Because they call me when stuff bad happened to them, like the job situation or whatever. Oh, I got money. Yeah, I just dropped 10. It sound good. Yeah, I just dropped 10 with this trade over here. How much money you made? Oh, I ain't made nothing off of it yet. But he need another 5 for the other part. He said when I get the other part, I'm gonna be straight. That's upsell. We ain't upselling. Come get it. Guess what? Christian don't get no complaints. And I ain't got a single complaint yet. That's what I pride myself on.
Right.
Even I helped all these people. There's nobody that's gonna open their mouth and complain about nothing I showed them, because nobody has seen it. Because I got that private education from a bank trader. But at the same time, it just wasn't a bank trader. It came from me putting in work myself,
Right.
coming up with a system. Boom, we're running with it. You ain't got to start with a lot of money. That's what I teach people. I said somebody making $500 a day. Guess what? These people usually start out with $300 to $500 in their account. Now they learn money management. Now they learn probability. Now they learn margins. Boom, 2 3 months with patience and mindset. Now guess what? They are making what you making going to work every day, $200 $300, because it's just that simple.
And that's the thing I love about it is that you really don't have to start out making a lot, and
Nah,
you can really start out making a little. But I love that it's a system. See, if you're not addicted to the system, you're gonna be addicted to the money, and the money comes and goes. That's just like you earning it and you spending it or you investing in it. The
and think
money is
about it.
meant to
It's a
be
stock
spent or
market.
invested. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
If you ain't got the mindset, they give you money because they know you gonna gamble big. Boom. I gave Christian 300 today. Now he finna get greedy. Oh, he finna try to go make that back real quick. He gonna do the same thing again. Now you get out of your business plan. Now you down $1,000.
And
Boom.
the trading does make you question whether you're greedy or not. It does make you question
Yeah.
that. A lot of things in life, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not greedy. Oh, I'm not greedy." But until you're faced with that decision on a continuous basis, on a daily basis, instead of just saying, "All right, I'm gonna take this $100 that it's giving me, or I'm gonna take this 150, or I'm gonna take this 1,000 that it's giving me," I'm consistently getting that. That's what I'm consistently getting. A lot of people say, "Okay, well." I know, and that's just that's that emotional play. Could you even talk about that? Do you feel that you've ever taken an emotional trade, or do you feel that 99% of the trades that you've ever taken have been true technical look at what you're doing trades? Like, could you even talk about the emotional, the
With
financial
me,
decisions you make?
and this for the people on here like I ain't got the money like that. Guess what? Cornell doesn't come from money. Y'all heard me say this before. When this was first introduced to me, it was introduced If you take the time and learn it, you ain't got to worry about no money anymore. Matter of fact, you ain't got to put no money up. Stay in the demo account until you are consistent enough to go in and put your money in if you don't got a lot of money to start with. We talk about this all the time. Common sense. Somebody just told you. All these platforms have free demo accounts. Now, I don't know about y'all. It took Cornell 8 months to take a trade live. Because guess what? Cornell remember. The man told me don't start until I was consistent. And to this day, I hadn't really had any losing days since I went live because I listened to proper instruction and I practiced and I studied and I practiced. But guess what? He also told me at the same time, you can't skip days in this. Trading has got to be something that somebody want to do. Nothing that can be forced. So guess what? He didn't call to check up on me to see what I studied. That's what real mentors do. They gonna push you. So guess what? If you give me the crazy answer when we talking about trade, I'm gonna give you the straight to the point return. Cause that's how our mentors talk to us. Because guess what? You gotta have a push somewhere. People that's selling you stuff is not gonna push you. They're just gonna make you feel comfortable to get some more money out of it. So now, like say you take something like trade, y'all hear what I'm saying? If you learn this, you don't have to worry about no money no more. I can say the same thing he's saying. I don't live in proof of it. So for me, yeah, 99% of my trades are structured. And I never had an issue with it because I followed instructions. I wasn't greedy. I seen the money early. And I saw through me taking my time what he was talking about. Oh, boom, I made 1,500 this week in the demo. I didn't say I was ready. To me, consistent means I got to go 2, 3 weeks straight for me to be comfortable. Guess what happened next week? Dang, I'm losing. I ain't doing what I. You know what? It made me think. Oh, it's more to it. I need to study some more. Let me go do some more research on my own. Let me sit here and look at it some more. You see how I developed my own self into a trade? Guess what? You ain't got a lot of money. Take your time. Now, the one thing he did teach me about, just like with the webinar, I just came up with that number. I mean, I say 300. I just came up with because one thing my mentor told me, he charged me what he charged me. $1,500 when I first started trading. Cause I said, hey, I could teach you for free. But most people don't take nothing serious till they got their own money to it. And guess what? I don't owe you nothing if you don't take it serious. You just lost your own money. I don't know about y'all. If you ain't got it, as an entrepreneur, you got to take chances. So if I'm gonna take a chance, I'm gonna give 100%. I'm
Facts.
Christian the same way. I'm
Facts.
gonna give 200%. Cause
It's funny you say that. I have never thought about if I'm gonna take a risk, the level of risk how much I'm willing to put in. I'm willing to put all the skin in the game because that's what it takes, and I don't think we talk about that enough as an entrepreneur. Is the amount of skin that you
we
put
don't
into the
talk
game.
about it.
Yeah.
Just like the real estate court. You taking it, taking it. Get what? I paid 2,000 for it, but guess what? It was worth taking the risk. I got all the information. I'm finna go 200%.
Right.
That's a new business for me.
Right.
That's more money for the trust.
Right.
What do we have to do as trustees?
Grow the
We
trust
have to
funds.
grow the assets
Yeah.
for the family,
Yeah. Grow some
the
capital.
trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So why would I go waste money on some online? You can't, and y'all got to get out there. Stop letting people pitch you online. You got to really check people's background and see what they actually really doing. Meet people. Go to different environments and meet people. But bring something to that room. Don't walk around that room trying to sell to people.
Well,
I can
okay.
promise you, you're not
What?
going to survive in our environment trying to sell to people unless they are extra. you to sell something to them.
Okay, let's just say
Christian, let
that.
me get into what you getting into.
Let's just say they don't have nothing to sell, because there are some. We address the ones that say they have something to sell. That's fair. But what about the ones that say,
Yeah.
I don't know what I bring to the table? They say, I don't know what I bring to the table, Cornell. I don't have anything. I've never been in these environments before. I've never been around these people that have capital, that talk about capital in such a way. What do I do? I don't know what I bring to the table, you know.
Sometimes, guess what? It's the little thing where I tell you, I go to environment that people ain't gonna normally want, probably ain't gonna think about you being in. Guess what? You might show your face enough to then start opening the conversation and dialogue with people while you're sitting there. It's just a natural thing for me now. Like it don't matter where I go nowadays in any state because I'm used to being in these environments and the way I carry myself and the way I move around. And you see how we move around when we go to, but we understand business. Guess what? Y'all get a bad waiter or waitress, y'all ain't tipping. Guess what? That's somebody got to work just like you work. They might be having a bad day. I'm still gonna leave them some. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take care of everybody in here. Guess what's gonna happen when I keep going to them same spots all the time? Now some gonna be given to me before it's over with. So now guess what? The manager gonna walk over here to me. Guess what? I'm gonna always get excellent service. Cause guess what? We in the right environments. We talk different. We handling ourselves differently. Y'all handling the people off emotion. Ain't no emotions in business. None whatsoever. That's why y'all businesses fail. Y'all get too emotionally tied with the business.
Do you think that's why you were able to leave from one business to the next business? Like, why are you so willing to leave from one business and go to the next business venture? I think we talked about this. I think it's probably the stupid question of,
Cause I'm not scared to follow the right people. So when I'm sitting and when I mean by saying following the right people, that's why I moved it around to different environments because I want to meet the people and actually know the people. You know how I am about
yeah.
conversations. Anyway, guess what? If I'm working on my job and I see this man coming to work every day, he just relaxed, ain't never mad. He just working to be working. What you do? Oh man, I got 30 something running houses. Two. Guess what? Cornell ain't too scared to sit there and hold a conversation and listen and be quiet and follow instructions. That's what I do. Most people don't want to take instructions, especially when you get to certain parts of your life. Guess what? Y'all don't understand. I had a job at the phone company. I'm gonna explain to y'all. When I started getting around real life people, I had kids. I had a $50,000 year job, but I was making 120 some thousand with overtime, working 60, 70 hours a week. You know, I don't get nobody no excuse, no story you can call me with and try to give me an excuse that I ain't been through. I walked away from the job because I started talking to business people. I'm paying attention to how the phone come around their business. I knew eventually what was gonna happen. Boom, I wasn't gonna have no job. And then secondly, I'm not finna work 7 hours and be tired every day and not even see my kids and nothing else. And I'm around these folks and they guess what? I appreciate them this day for being hard on me because what I told you, I'm talking about business. They cut me off and like, look, I ain't helping you no more till you go start the business. We ain't got nothing else to talk about. You go start the business. I'm gonna help you do what you need to do. Guess what?
Okay.
They helped me do what I need to do. I went simple, facts. Stop
Yeah.
spending no any money. Want to buy into the commercial franchise. Bought into it with $2,800 while I was still working. Started out with $1,100 a month. 3 months, me and my partner, we hitting it hard. We up 5 figures in the company. Like I tell y'all, when I invest my money, I go 200%. I help the man build a franchise. Now I'm making a decision at work. I'm like him now. Dang, they private school just called me want to pay me $15,000 a month. I got some women that want to work for me. What I want to do, keep working 7 hours a week, or go work for myself and be at the house and working on the 20 hours a week. Boom, I left the job. Most people would have been like, man, you making 100, and I heard this when I left. Man, you making 100 some thousand, man, insurance. Man, you crazy, you gonna leave. Pension. I left all that. Best best decision I ever made in my entire life. Cause now, guess what? My time's free. Me and my kids go do whatever. Anytime. Whatever. And cause I work hard, guess what? Now, like I said, I might go do something somebody might have to plan out for months to go do just with their kids. Like I ain't trying to do that. Like dang, we ain't even got it this month. I want to take y'all to that new place over there, but we're gonna have to wait till y'all 2 more months down the road. Nah, what I learned by moving around the right people, you know what? It's gonna be easy to teach my kids if I'm set up the right way. How am I gonna teach my kids if I ain't moving the right way?
Huh? Right?
So
Hey,
I can't be stuck on the job. Guess what? 100,000 sound good, but taxes come out of that. And maybe you're smart enough to take some 401k money out of that. But I can promise you, you're not gonna have that nice car or a nice house with $100,000 a year. You'll be all right.
some
You have a
people.
little bit more than everybody else, but that ain't how I want to live. I quit. I walked out the door. When I created my own, boom. From that point on, I'm in the entrepreneur world. Got to eat. It make you work for real. Now you're working for yourself. You don't work, you don't eat in the entrepreneur world. It ain't the benefit of the job. And guess what? Y'all ain't even understand it. We talk everything is running the same. Systems are in place the same. Your company lose money, y'all get losing your job. Bottom line, it ain't your company. You can be mad all day. Phone company was making $3 billion profit every quarter when I was working. Somebody got laid off every three months and still get laid off to this day every 3 months at the phone company. Ask anybody that worked there. That job I was telling y'all about that I walked away from, shut down the whole building downtown. That's the job I was doing. Took 2, 3 years to do it, but guess what? Everybody is downsizing their company because everybody getting into the business structure again. Money tight nowadays. Guess what? The company got to tighten up. I can't pay Christian 60,000 when I can go hire a kid that don't know no better for half of what I'm paying y'all. We might have a higher overhead turnover, but we don't give a care nothing about that. We finna save that money. I'm gonna bring them in. They've been working 25 years. So what? We don't care. Bottom line is the business. And that's what really in reality happens in the business world. They land you off because bottom line, profits weren't where they wanted them at, or they wanted some more money. So think about that. These folks make $3 billion cash every quarter. Somebody got laid off. Not somebody. Thousands got laid off every 3 months to this day. And I ain't been working in like 6, 7 years.
Alright. We got a question in the chat. It says, does the trustee have the fiduciary duty to the beneficiary? Traditionally, in a trust, that would be the case. It says, is the
He said,
beneficiary
what now?
does the trustee have a fiduciary duty to the beneficiary? I would probably actually say no to that now that I reread it, because the fiduciary duty is to the trust. The trustee works for the trust, not for the beneficiary. And you see a lot of court cases a lot of times that talk about the beneficiary trying to sue the actual trustee because they're not doing their duty. Because if they just sue the trust, then the trust is how can they sue the trust? The trustee is the one managing the trust. So you see a lot of beneficiaries sue the trustee, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on the trust actual contract, because the contract is set up for the benefit of the beneficiary, not the trustee. Trustee is just a fiduciary. or yeah, but which is one fiduciary. Is the beneficiary entitled to account status breakdown of what's in the trust? And that's the interesting part. That's why we get into the public and the private. That's why we have the trustee training programs, so you can at least know, hey, what truly you get all the answers to that question. That's not just a one answer question. That's a loaded question that deserves a lot more.
And the
Is
stuff y'all hear us talking about, this will get you in them rooms.
right.
Cause Christian will tell you, we done been around people with millions that ain't set up correctly.
Yeah, yeah,
We had, he done had attorneys call him. Man, I done heard about that. How can I get it? How much you charge?
yeah,
Because your conversation different when you're in the room. Yeah, what people be talking to me, man, I don't own nothing. Huh? Man, you got the car out. Man, that ain't mine. That's the trust. That might spark a conversation. Cause they gonna get what? They might just had money, just went and paid an attorney and got a trust because it sounded like what everybody else had and got in play. I done
yeah.
talked to people like that.
Yeah, you get a lot of those. We definitely get a
Yeah.
lot of those. They, oh yeah, we already got it, but then they don't know how to work it. They don't talk about it properly. They still own stuff. It's like, so how do you? What's the point of having a trust if you still own it? And then they're like, oh well, I didn't know that. I gotta go back and talk to my attorney. I don't even know who the grantor is. I don't know who the they don't know these answers to these questions. Well, I don't know who's the trustee actually. I don't even know what position I'm in. I think I'm a beneficiary, but I think I'm the trustee too. And you hear a lot of that, and that's
And
really
that
bad.
might be your open your door. Get educated. 'Cause guess what? I just sat in the room with an attorney. I don't know as much as Christian, but like I told him, I'm in the room with the attorney, and you telling somebody something, and you an attorney, like people look at you for advice. How you just in here freestyling?
Freestyle. He freestyle. I think I know what instance you going to say, and I'll say it if you don't. God dang it, cause he
And
said,
I had to say something because I
"Oh
didn't
man,
want the person that asked the question to be confused when they going down the right path. Like,
yeah."
oh, anything can be broke. What he said, I forgot even the way the man put it,
But he
but
said it was a myth. He said that part. I know he said that. And
yeah,
when he said that,
yeah.
it was just sounding
He
stupid.
said it,
It sounded stupid. To even say it's a
and
myth,
guess
it
what?
sounds stupid.
And I had a conversation with him on the side, like, man, I flat out told the guy, hey, that ain't nothing you tell somebody. If you don't understand, man, you are a really, you're a real estate attorney, so it, you got to stay in your lane. Like I stay in my lane. I ain't gonna tell somebody something that I clearly don't know nothing about.
Right.
I'm gonna refer you over to the person that know that. Cause guess what? I said, man, you just told this person it's a myth. It ain't a myth, doc. Like it ain't a myth. How? And if you want to put your money where your mouth be, I can put you on the phone with people that's handling billionaires' money, and let you know it ain't no myth. And the guy like, well, banks don't like. What are you talking about? Banks don't like to work with trust. Banks work with trust all the time. Banks are in trust. The ones that handling money is in trust. What is he talking about? Guess what? Y'all in the cryptocurrency, Gemini's in trust. They are
Bitcoin?
reason they in trust. Facebook
Yeah.
ain't even Facebook. They in trust.
Google's in trust. All of them are in trust.
All of them in trust. So you can't speak on something you don't know. That's what I said. People, I don't know. They get to certain points in their life and they think they're better than everybody. I ain't never gonna be like that. If I'm in the room with somebody, guess what? They in their position for a reason. Guess what? I might want to know what they're doing. The same way they gonna want to know what I'm doing. That's how you get in the room. If you don't got nothing to bring to the room, you ain't got to sell nothing in the room. I don't sell nothing when I'm in the room with them. It's just that I can have a real conversation because I educated myself.
Well, I see why you're saying that now, because sometimes even when we go in a room and people maybe get around, people that have a lot more capital, millions and billions
Yeah,
of dollars. People say, "Oh man, I gotta sell something to them. I feel like I gotta sell something." It's like, no, you don't have to sell anything to them. I don't think you necessarily even have to sell yourself. I don't think that that's
you ain't got to
important.
say so.
Yeah,
Cause get think about when we in the room, what usually happens? Them people ease their way over there because that conversation that we might have been having sparked their interest fully.
yeah.
Like, oh,
And that
so now
okay,
we ain't got to sell
okay,
them nothing.
okay. No, no, no. See, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. We will not let any of you all get off the hook. Ladies and gentlemen, every episode I say, if y'all have any questions, type into the chat. If it's related to the actual episode, which is trust funds versus trust, I've answered a question or two because someone has asked some good questions in the chat. I do at least read the questions in the chat and I do my best. And there's still a question I'm going to answer from Metal Me Beard. Ladies and gentlemen, you best believe if we're investing 200, 300, $800, $2,000 in a private wealth environment or in an environment for money, we're asking questions. We got questions if it's a stupid question. It could be a retard. It could we will go there with the stupid questions. And we don't even make it a point to ask stupid questions. But you best believe we got questions. There's no way we're going to invest any type of capital in any environment and not have questions. So for all the ones that don't have questions, ladies and gentlemen, how are you going to present value if you don't have questions? If you don't know something, just asking a question alone presents value to the environment because there are people in the room that you will ask a question that other people may be thinking about that didn't ask. One, two, you may ask a question that they were thinking about. People wanted to ask, and then people were thinking. It blew through their mind, and they left it alone. And you can ask that question for value, and then people can see. Corey say, "How do you think people ease their way?" Because people see that you asked a question that was very dynamic and different. And we go to these environments and we make it a point to ask those questions, the dynamic, different
And that
questions.
actually happened at the real estate conference I was at. By the way, I asked my questions, they knew like, and I had got direct contacts out that room that they probably wouldn't have gave nobody their direct numbers. They like, okay, by what you was asking, I know you are operating at a high level. So what? Matter of fact, I got asked, man, what do you do? Because you talking like the man teaching the class. Like you got the same type of money. One of his people asked me that. Then when I told him I trade, boom, it catch their attention. I ain't just freestyling with the trade. Oh yeah, man, give me a call. I'm gonna throw you some signals. I don't give signals out. Get on my webinar. Ain't no signals given out.
But
Not the
by
way y'all think they're giving out.
But by far, man, I can tell you right now, the last webinar in June, man, was a beautiful blessing because literally we went through, I think, so many charts. Like I actually am looking to go back through there and look at the gold chart if you did gold. But I know
And
because
that's
I know
why
someone
I'm
asked
doing
about it.
one more because it'll be good to get on this last one because it's gonna be people on it like the last time I did it, like they're serious, that had already took it, got back on again, made sure they got everything they need answered on video because it's recorded. Boom, they killing it now. They got the little. They had already been studying. Now they got it. Now they got it for good. Cause
That's
guess what?
beautiful.
It be beginners on there, and it be that's why I do 2 days. We're gonna go through. I ain't gonna skip nobody, leave nothing out. We're gonna go from scratch. But then you see that second day, okay, the one that's been around for a minute gonna start asking them questions. They might not click to you right now, but guess what? You want that on now. And that's why they asked me to do one more. Because see, that's how it's getting. Like people are really making progress now. It make the video better. Cause I'm not. It doesn't change up. Bottom line, and that's what people say. Y'all don't trade. We got the greatest new thing out. Guess what? What I show you, no matter if I give you my first video from months ago to now, it's the same process. Why everybody's switching up? They're not following the money. I take my trades with the money. That is the institution, the bank. Who moved the market? This is how I'm gonna talk to you. This common sense question. Who moves the market?
Oh, the
The
bank,
bank.
the trust funds, the largest
So
trust
if I'm
funds in the
telling
world.
you this is where the bank's sitting at, this is where you need to be getting in and working on. Why you gonna go listen to your internet? Trust me, it's small circles. One thing I learned about business, no matter what you in, industry wise, it's a small group of people that's doing it the right way that's gonna communicate. You're gonna run across a lot of crabs.
You said a lot of crabs in
Sound
the
good.
barrel.
A lot of crabs in the barrel. It's gonna sound good to you. I try to save people money. 'Cause guess what? Somebody could easily say, "Hey, Chris, I'm gonna charge you on the futures market, the forex market. Oh, you want to learn stocks and binary options? Oh, that's an additional charge. Why is it an additional charge when they're doing the same thing and all of them? That's what you ain't gonna see on the internet. Everybody is social media easy way for somebody to make some money because they get a good enough following. Y'all gonna pay for it. Bottom line, I hate to say it like that, but y'all gonna pay for it. And they selling you the same thing 5 times. Or they might try to switch it up and make it sound different, but rich folks ain't making any money. They're complicated. They're gonna make that system complicated because it's built off emotion. Trust system built off emotion. The wrong words can mess you up. Simple stuff. Trade, simple stuff could be your biggest hiccup. It could be you gaining 30,000 or losing 30,000.
And like I say, it really makes you assess your greed factor because once you start seeing what is available to you, you have to say, okay, about what, how far am I willing to go? How big do I want this picture to be? Because the trading has made allowed you to go into other rooms. The trust has allowed us to be, and foundation has allowed us to be in other rooms because of that. And we're in there with, like you say, the people we move with. So it does create
And what
community.
we learning how people, me personally, I'm pretty sure Chris, I'm learning how folks become a billionaire. Cause guess what? You might set some goals, but you're gonna hit them goals and you're gonna keep going. I done hit some goals already, but then boom, this is when I thought, you know what, I can go even a little bit more deeper with this. I'm gonna keep on going. I see how they become billionaires. They never get lazy. You see them enjoying themselves, but they put in work. But guess what? Now we learn how. I mean, it's all about structure.
Yeah.
Nobody said you got to do everything once you get up there, but you got to know how to set it up. You know how to balance your team. You got to know how to play to the weakness and the strengths of everybody. Like that's the simple stuff, but it's a way to learn it. We can go. Also, we can go. Man, I got 5 buddies. I'm gonna do. No, it ain't the 5 buddies. I gotta see how these 5 buddies is.
Okay. For example, if Cornell go do the trading, he still got to have an accountant. He still got to have the business lawyer available. That's the team. That's the small micro team. It could get bigger. He got an assistant for the email. Cordell ain't answering the email for the trade? Why? Because he don't need to teach. But that someone else requested it. Okay, cool. We'll hire somebody to do this for the period that's necessary. It's that simple. You build a team
That's it.
though, But I think that yeah, when you dealing with trust funds, you gonna have to build a team. When people get in trust, they say, "Oh man, who should be a trustee? Anyone that you trust." And I'm pretty
That's
sure it's
it.
not a lot of people that you
And that's
trust.
how I teach. That's why I think I get good feedback on the training because when I get on there, I'm straightforward teaching, straight to the point, like how my mentors is. So I think a lot of people they not gonna even hit me with the dumb question. I don't get dumb questions sent to me. Cause when they got the video, the one that's studying know like, man, I ain't gonna even call Cornell. He gonna know I ain't looked at this. They already know that.
Right?
So the bar done went up, and the bar going up because the people starting to push themselves now. I don't, man, people are making a lot of progress. That's the only reason I keep doing it. It's a lot of progress being made. I got Chris know I done told her I get phone call, bro, you changed my life. You ever need anything, let me know. What up? Like I done changed people that was struggling live. The one that can't go get the high paying job because they ain't got the degree. But now they sitting at the crib making $5,000, $6,000 a month.
Okay,
Or the
I
one that
think
got laid off.
I think there's one more perspective that wants to be shared here, Cornell, which is okay. First of all, okay, you know this knowledge. I don't know this knowledge. I'm sitting at my house. I hear you talking about this, but I don't know this knowledge. And supposedly people work jobs. So people work jobs, and then some people are entrepreneurs. So we're gonna address both of you all, the entrepreneurs and the job. So he said, okay, I don't know how long it's gonna take
The
me to learn
job,
this. They got a job or they entrepreneur. It doesn't matter.
guess
And they
what? I
said, hold on,
had two jobs. I was an
all right,
entrepreneur and working at the same time. How
all
many
right.
hours I told you I put in on the trade? 2 to
70.
3 hours.
Okay, okay. So they gotta learn it. They know, okay, I gotta set two to
Guess
three
what? On the
hours.
weekend, I might look at it all day. You want to know
Really?
why? Hey, if I tell you or somebody tell you if you learn this, you ain't gotta worry about no money again, and they showed it to me on top of telling me that, it ain't nothing else for me to do but put the work in. And they didn't gave me some tools to get started with. I wasn't calling my mentor no dumb question because
Hold on,
boom,
hold
he
on,
gave
hold
me the
on, hold on,
tools
hold on,
right
hold
here.
on. No, no, no. I want to make sure we address this question. So, it's one of those things, Cornell. You know this knowledge. You're the master right now. You're Master Yoshi. You're Master Yoda. I don't know this, man. I never looked at a chart a day of my life. This stuff looks weird. This trust stuff, I heard about it.
Guess
It's
what? It's
private.
people that have been to the webinar, brand new people, because I go from first thing to the stuff you need to go study up on that you don't need. I'm saving you time for all that internet hype. I go through all of that. I had people leave that class and literally 2 months later, so we done simplified it and dumbed it down. They already making progress with smaller trade. Like I said, who can't take who gonna complain about making an extra $50 to $100 a day, still working while you learning this? You just put extra money in your account.
So
And
you
guess
trying to tell
what?
me
They
I can
follow.
make that because that's what they're thinking. Like, okay, so I don't need to make $1,000 a day. That's big, or $1,000 a month, or 5,000, 10, 20,
You
10
wanna know how you
millions
make
dollars a month.
guess
That's what they thinking, you know.
we're gonna keep it simple. You know how you make the $1,000 a month? The same thing that you made the $10 off of on the trade before when you first started when you didn't have a couple $100.
Right. That's the part I want to be explained. Yeah, always. The
That
system.
should click in your head.
Yeah.
But it sounds like we talking about big money. But guess what? We learn the system. We don't even talk about money on the webinar that much. Besides explaining to you how it pays out. But what I said, you're gonna hear me say this 50 million times. It's in the chart. You get that, you can make whatever you want to make. So the statement, guess what? That same move, yeah, once y'all go back listen, the same move that made you that $5 to $10 before gonna make you the hundreds to the thousands later on. Same move. That means it's repetition. That means it's screen time. That means I had to go recognize things and do the same thing over and over. That's not complicated. Complication is when you got 100 indicators, you got 1,000 people in your ear online, you got a ton of information on there. Rich people are smart. The market is off emotions. I just had somebody in the group say I went back and looked at the video you did 2 months ago, the webinar. Corner, that thing did exactly what you said. And you said it was gonna take about a month or two to get there. Exactly. Now that's power. Now you just start watching the news and start watching all the hype. it'll change your mind the way you'll be a true entrepreneur. It probably help people with the trust also, because you got to get your mind together. Don't try to break the system. Follow the system that's been put into play.
Yeah, I think it.
That that separates the public from the private. Nobody's in the private world trying to be slick and break the system. The system's in place. Use the systems. Keep it simple. Go about enjoying yourself and quit trying to be the creator
Huge,
if you didn't
huge,
create.
huge, 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 huge. That's like almost saying that once again. I always talk about trying to change the rules before you play the game, and that's trying to change the rules to the system when you didn't even create the system. If you didn't create the system, then you can't create the rules. You got to play by the rules. The system in the United States is capitalism, it's entrepreneurship, and that's one of the things that I think that the system is missing. By it missing capitalism and entrepreneurship, people don't have the initiative mindset of taking initiative, creating risk to reward situations. It's always I guess a lot of people want security-based situations. They want security. They want social security. They want business security. They want insurance for their money. So we're gonna go into the insurance business. How come you're not in the insurance business? We're in the insurance business. That we're into the loans making. The insurance companies make loans to banks. Insurance companies make loans to companies. Insurance companies. If people want to play the insecurity, security, insurance game, let's play it with your money. Let's play that game. How many people are on the internet talking about utilizing the infinite banking concept? They're not, because they're not insuring their money. They're security based people. They had a job,
Yep.
they quit their job, they have a business, and they're trying to get security in their job. I mean, in their business. That's why they become solo entrepreneurs. They're not business team entrepreneurs. When they talk about having a diverse portfolio, that's them giving their money back to the bank. They sit their money with the bank to sit with the bank. Rich people don't trust. So they sit the average individual sits their money with the bank, and then they take the money that they have left over, they invest it with the bank. Well, the bank is given money by the insurance company. They're taking your money and putting it in an insurance policy. They're growing the money, multiples. It's called hypothecation. So very, very real in the respect of what's going on with trust funds when they take the funds and they put them into a private position. There's a public side to the bank and there's a private side to the bank. It's double bookkeeping entry. They're doing double entry bookkeeping. It's that simple. Public side, private side. We got for all the ones that say, oh, well, we know that the bank is writing things off on the books. Well, do you know how to do that? That comes from knowing accounting. That knows from having a good accountant to know how to do the different methods of cash or accrual method of accounting. That's having someone abreast of gap procedures. Having these people around you, continuing your education. So we appreciate you all. We've gone for 2 hours. Appreciate you all for tuning in live, listening to replay. We haven't done any pop-ups, so we
Two
wanted to give, yeah, we
hours.
wanted to give a quality content. Wanted to give a quality content episode with trust funds, and who else even better to talk about it than Cornell, because he can talks about how he took stages of growth when people talk about flipping out of one position and getting into the next, and then to see, okay, now he has all the time in the world to spend with his children because of the trading. And people ask, is the trading real, man? Is the trading real? I don't know if I can learn that, man. I don't know if I can learn that. I don't know. I never seen nothing like that, man. Is this real, man? I don't need to be a part of no scams, man. I'm trying to really learn something in my life. I only got 250 measly dollars. I only got 300 measly dollars, man. I can't be wasting it on no guy over the internet named Cornell, and I can't just be giving him $300. I spent that on LeBron James shoes, So I need to get the next LeBrons when they come out. So I can't be spending that on you, man. Instead of you looking at it as an investment. Because spending and investing are two different words and they have two different definitions. So if you don't look at it as an investment, it's not an investment. If it's an investment, there's a risk involved. That's why you're not an entrepreneur, because you're spending money. You're spending money at your job. You're spending money to go to work. You're spending time to make a paycheck. You're not investing time to get a check. Because when you invest that check, you invest your time to get the check, you invest the money. Because your time was worth the money. It's a mindset, it's a system. And we talked about this. Oh man, I don't want to spend no money and lose it, man. Okay, well, don't be an entrepreneur. Stay at your job. But for the ones of you all that listen and know that we're talking about entrepreneurship here, specifically the ones that know about the entrepreneurship, we're talking about taking risk. We're talking about taking great risk. But when you even hear Cornell say, well, look, you shouldn't even be risking more than 10% of your account, that shows you, wow, are you serious? So if I have 1,000, I'm not risking more than 100 at a time? That means I can lose 9 times. Where someone that says, hey, you got 1,000 in the account, hey, risk 50% of it. That's 500. If I only have 500 and I lose 500, I'm down 500. I ain't got no more to go. I can't do another $500 one because I'm gonna be all wiped out if I lose. It's a mindset, and it's a love and it's a passion for the game. And I remember meeting Cornell, and he was even still doing the working with his mentors, and he was already doing the teaching. Already saying, hey, people ask me all the time how to trade. I don't really need it, but hey, I share it with them. And I think about it, I even wanted to ask him during this episode, how did you feel after you found out that you were being underserved by your mentor and you had to keep growing your knowledge to the next level? You had to keep pushing the needle. It's like it's a non-job mentality because you could have got stuck right there like a lot of people that you had to leave behind in the mentor's environment that are still stuck in the mentor's environment, not making no money. They're not making no money. There are people that are reported to be sitting there with the mentors that aren't making any money. That these once again, we don't have to say mentors. We can say internet guys, the internet gurus. They're not making any money, and they're over there for emotional feel goods. But secretly, who do they call? Trust Christian Naval and Cornell. Hey man, just wanted to let you know I kind of see what you're doing. I looked at a little bit of the social, and hey, I just want to know, could I take your class? I heard about that. I'm still dealing with the guy that ain't making no money, but I'm gonna deal with you too. That's what they do, and we happy to deal with them. We're happy to educate and work with them because it's no love, no loss. So we always focused on the love. You get the love back. That's what it is. But at the end of the day, they over there for the wrong reason, and love isn't the right one for them because they love the mentor now. Oh man, he comes on every day. He talks real big. He talks big. He sounds good. He yells a lot. He cusses a lot. He talks real good. He talks real good. But then what happens? Oh man, we don't see progress. Not what progress don't you see with him or you? Both. Progress is you and the mentor going to different wealth investment conferences. Progress is you and the mentors doing investments together. They're not meant to be your mentor forever. You're supposed to learn the subject matter. That's what Cornell did. He learned the subject matter. That's what I did. I learned the subject matter. So when people say, oh man, I don't know if I can learn it, it's a subject matter. Just like you learn English, just like you learn the language, just like you learn math, just like you learn everything else, it's a subject matter. You learn it. And that's what I really wanted to end on. The trust funds, you learn how to manage the trust funds from being in it. If you're not in the trust, you can't manage trust funds, can you? No. But when you make it a point to say, I'm going to manage trust funds, what happens? You're in a trust. You're managing the funds. You're doing what's necessary. You're winning big. For the ones that don't want to take the time to invest together with others or invest, you won't get it. But the ones that do, it's not just getting the trust, it's not just having the funds. It's about investing in the education to manage the funds 100% every single time. It's to get in and manage the funds. And the way that you manage the funds is through continuing education programs. The Vault provides that. Cornell is a part of that process. And in trustee training, the private trustee training, you know about the trading from the trust account. We bring him on to talk about trading from the trust account because that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens on the private side. The side that you're locked out of, the side that you don't know, the side that your friends don't talk about, the side that the entrepreneurs that you sit around that they go on a nice trips and you might not go on. That's what's going on. They have the proper structure. They're not in an individual taxpayer position. They're in the position of having an entity in front of them. That's the difference. We sat in front of an entrepreneur right now. They don't even know they're an entrepreneur. They're getting tossed $1 million right now at them. And guess what? They don't even have a corporation set up. How foolish is that? And the other party is in a corporation. Businesses, people that are in the private deal with people that are in the private. Facts. People that are in trust deal with people in trust. So what makes you think you should be operating and dealing with people that have corps and you don't? That have entities and you don't? That's the difference. So appreciate you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. Cornell, you got anything to wrap up on? I know you say we're gonna do you're gonna do a webinar in what is this? What is this? July and August, and then there's gonna be a live event in October. So for all you all
Yeah.
listening,
August 3rd and 4th, October, gonna be the live. And after that, we probably be on vacation somewhere.
yeah, that's really how it goes. But that just he said you on vacation. I'll probably still be grinding, but no worries. We appreciate you nonetheless for doing this. Because it's just important. So, thank you all for keeping the numbers up to listening live. You guys are listening, and we appreciate you all. That's why we really go is for the live listeners to really give you a lot of content on what we are dealing with in the private, whether that's with trust or trust funds. And I mean, we could still keep going when I could talk about the gold and silver and making sure that you're insuring the money. Even heard from one of the mentors talk about how gold and silver is not even an investment; it's a savings. If you guys want to talk about investing, why don't you learn the trading? The trading allows you to put these contracts on the actual asset itself and never have to even have the asset. See, that's the private sector. The private sector, they're trading paper. So when everybody's coming from this paradigm, the Moorish paradigm or the UCC paradigm of, oh, we're trying to establish some type of private debtor to creditor relationship. That's a private contract. That contract is something that people trade on the market. People trade debt on the market. People trade assets on the market. They're trading paper now. But what happened to that education? There's a gap in the education with the gurus over the internet that are just talking about creating this UCC to protect you. Why not put it to practice? You want to know what gives you your freedom? The money gives you your freedom. The less money you have, the less freedom you have. The more money you have, the more freedom you have. No one wants to tell anybody that truth. Why? Because then they know that they suck. They know that they have to get off their butt then. You have to get off your butt and make a lot of money to live in the States, to live anywhere safe. No one wants to hear that. You got to make a ton of capital. But for some odd reason, all the people that got money, they live in gated communities. The people that got the money, they live on islands. The ones that don't, they live in Section 8. This is the reality. In the States, you get Section 8. Wherever you're in the world, you might not get this Section 8. In the States, they call it Section 8. It's welfare for people that want to have universal income, that want to have universal health care, the people that want everybody to have the same exact thing. I would love to say that I'm created equal as Cornell, but for some odd reason, he knows some things that I don't know, and I know things that he don't know. So guess what? We're not created equal now. We were created equal, and then somehow we separated ourselves. Through what? Education. The education alone will separate ourselves because now he's able to do things that I'm not able to do based off of his education. And he invested in it. It wasn't a handout from the government. It wasn't a public handout. It wasn't a public school education. This man had the job. And he still invested in the private education because that's what it takes. It doesn't take people sitting over the internet. We might have heard the podcast through the internet. We might have heard the investment through the internet. We still invested and met the guy, shook his hand. Met the guy face to face. You're not going to let some guy sit over the internet and talk smack to you. They showed up. And now it's time to show out because your family deserves it. Always has and always will. There is nothing about negative that breeds positivity. So when we talk about what we do, we surround ourselves around positive people. If you're not even around positive people, you're losing. Is that the truth? Does that hurt? Yes. So if you are hanging around losers, how can you grow the trust funds? It goes back to what you're trying to accomplish. It's not about, oh man, I got to separate myself. You got to. And the knowledge does that. People get in trust and say, oh man, This has separated me from some of the friends that I knew. You're right. Who the hell has a trust? Who the hell has a corporation? People that are willing to take risk, people that are willing to pass something on. If they're not having that level of conversation with you, kiss them goodbye. And if they don't want to kiss you on the cheek, then you can tell them where else to kiss. Because this is about you and your family. And we're selfish enough to tell you that. It's about you and your family. It's always been about Cornell's family and my family. It's always been about that. But it's still, hey, if you understand the private sector, families are working together. They're the ones that's giving the public people loans. Families in the private through private loans. Private loans are working just like public loans are working. There's private equity. That's why they call it that. That's why they call it venture capital. That's why they call it angel investing. They're investing from the private sector. Oh man, I can't invest with my friends. People say, I can't invest with my friends. I can't give my friends no money. They ain't gonna give me no money back on time. Well then don't lend your friends money. You shouldn't get into the lending business right away. Mentor told us that. They said it's a ruthless business. Well, at least we had a mentor to tell us that. We're gonna share that message. The lending business is a ruthless business. Don't get into it unless you're ruthless. With your friends, with your family. Yes, that's the harsh reality. Cornell knows that. We all know that. Everybody has lent money out, and they're not even a bank. They're not getting interest back. How you gonna lend money to your friend and not get interest back from your friend? That's not a loan. It's not a loan. A loan is where you get interest back. Technically, for fair credit reporting practices or fair lending practices, those are you gotta have interest involved. You're gonna take funds from your family's limited funds or not even limited, just funds in general for somebody's cockamamie idea. Cornell knows how many ideas we invested over throughout our lives now in people's cockamamie idea. If it ain't cockamamie, they're lazy. They don't want to work. They want to come to work late. So we invested in the company now, and they coming to work late. How somebody gonna give your company money or give a company money, and the people that receive the money, they think it's just an unlimited source of money now? Oh man, well hey, I mean I'm the one really here doing the day-to-day operations, so I don't know if I need to really come in on time. Why? Because I'm an entrepreneur and I've been fronted money. That's what happens here. So you get fronted money through the angel investor, through the VC, through the GP, through the LP, whatever it is. They invest in the company, and all of a sudden this person thinks they need to sit back. How do you feel when you invested money? It's not even like it's your business. You don't know the business. They're building the business, and you got money involved. How do you handle that now? Managing the trust funds. How does that work? And that's what we talk about at the vault. That's what we talk about in private trustee training. That's what we talk about. How do you deal with that relationship? Oh man, I don't want to fire my friend. I don't want, hey, don't we hear that, Cornell? I don't want to fire my friend. I don't want to fire my uncle. I don't want to hire this lady. I hired this lady, but I don't want to fire this lady. I don't know. I'm overpaying her. To be honest, I'm overpaying her. Him, not to be discriminatory. It's not a him or a her. I'm overpaying this person, and I gotta fire them now. That's a trust fund decision. That's how you. It wow. I just laughed. I had to laugh and think about what Cornell. He always talked about how it's kind of cutthroat, and people don't want to hear that. They want to hear the let me paint a really good web page and show you that we're living an awesome lifestyle, and we're driving Lamborghinis, and we're sharing with you the awesome lifestyle, but we don't want to share with you the tough decisions that have to be made, the conversations that have to be had in these environments to manage the trust funds properly. People don't want to hear that part. They want to see the Instagram and the pictures of the vacations, right? They want to hear what the funds are doing. You want to know what the funds are doing? Go look at Harvard's endowment fund. Go look at the Ford Rockefeller foundations. Go look at their foundations. Go look at their portfolios. See what they're managing. The Ford Foundation. Go see what the Lilly Foundation is managing. Go see what the Carnegie Foundation is managing. Go see what the Carnegie Foundation is managing. Go see it. Go see the funds that they're managing. What are the actual funds? They're managing startup funds. They're managing industrial funds. They have different funds that they're investing. They're investing in colleges. That's how it works. Funds are created for your life. You got the clothing fund. You got the car fund. You got the housing fund. You don't go on vacations. You go on business trips. You need to go see where you want to do business in the world, correct? Right. It's that simple. You're the trustee over the company. You're the manager of the company. You need to expand the company. Is that not a business expense? But people don't think the business over the personal. Because we were talking about even trustees talking about want to take salaries because they still want to do things personally. It's an education behind it. Really excited to work with all the trustees that have enrolled in the trustee training already. I know we start our trustee training August 4th. Uh, I think it's August 4th. Yeah, because you said August something. So I know that if that's August 4th, if it's the first week in August, then trustee training starts August 4th. Christian at trustchristian.com. You guys can enroll. Appreciate you all. This is something we could do all day, every day through YouTube and just doing it like we can do this all day. And outside of working with trustees, this is what we do. We enjoy our lives, and that's why it's so important for you to do the same exact thing to be in control of your life. There's $1 trillion being traded through the stock market every day. No, you're not going to get all the money, so don't even worry about, oh man, can I get 2,000? Can I get 10,000? Can I get $1 million a day through the stock market? First of all, it's a trillion again going through the stock market and the markets. It's growing every day. So you getting a measly $1 million out of the market every day is not changing the flow of the market. That's being honest. Banks are doing that. Institutional level, lower levels are doing that. Hedge funds are doing that. And they got staffs, hundreds of people working on staff, trading to get millions of dollars a day. And they're still considered smaller firms. So we're excited about say, hey, look, there are funds out there. We're excited about working with different funds. Trust funds can hold different types of funds. It doesn't have to be just stock market. It doesn't have to be just real estate. It's just an entity holding a fund of money or a asset of value or something of that nature. So we just appreciate you all for wanting to listen for this long and just make it a point to present a ton of value to you all. So appreciate you all. Peace and blessings. Feel free to reach out. Christian at Trust Christian. Cornell's going to do that webinar soon. So feel free to get on there. Christian at Trust Christian is how you can get in contact with Cornell. We'll forward you over to his team. And peace and blessings to you. Talk to you soon.